That sounds good.
So you have said goodbye to this other party that has wandered past. I guess you suspect in some way that they resemble you all, or that Jade certainly has her own feelings for her own hashtag reasons. Pardon. And there's been some other carts here and there, but these are the only five that have really like stopped and bothered to come out and check in on you all. You know, some defensive measures were taken, mage armor. You know, Mordecai, you tried suggesting that the one leave, though she seemed to be kind of resistant to that. And it's time to hit the road and to go onto what is known as the highway. And it is called as such because it is a way that is high. As this is a road that was built by, built by the residents of Browbeat from the very stone from that mountain. It actually sits above ground level, and it is made in such a way so that it's effectively a paved road that's elevated, so that water does actually run off of it instead of just like pooling and puddling or getting all muddy. And so this is a contribution that Browbeat has made in as both a show of their skill and their determination, and also a way to just forge this bond with Mask of Flowers, which is the major port city in the north of Mesomasca. And so the road coming to this crossroads, you know, that the highway comes to this crossroad, and it's very easy to know where it is that you should be going. And let's not forget too that this very nice paved road actually does help facilitate the movement of quarried or cut stone and statues and other raw or finished product.
Good to hear.
Off to Browbeat, then. Off to Browbeat. Jade continues to watch over the old man. Doesn't say anything, not that she needs to. They have their own methods of communicating, though she leers over him, as though watching an ant farm or something.
12 for 10, yeah, there are road signs. But I could just flex a little bit more adjectives and storytelling if I describe it that way. But there is, yes, a very obvious sign that says Browbeat this way.
All right. Well,
I know that we spent a lot of
this way.
Okay, Mr. Boxy, I know that we spent a lot of time with Raphael's grave, and I know that you never really got to do that with your father. So I wanted to find out if you're okay, and if there's anything that you would have wanted to say to your dad that you couldn't have. You can say it to me instead, and we can pretend. Would that be okay?
Oh, you're saying this as you're standing by Raphael's grave?
As
a symbol or something? Oh, on the road?
It can pass on the road.
Okay. Okay.
Bright still wants to keep moving. She wants to get as much progress as we can.
he is willing to take you up on the offer, but he doesn't think he has the words just yet. Now, conversely, Geroff is, now that the road's a little bit more smooth, having turned onto the highway, he starts opening up, and he is in his own kind of, it's not so dry and raspy, but there's a wetness to his breathing and his talking and his coughs. He does tell stories of, you know, he actually worked on a portion of this road, and he just is going on, and he can, he has a lifetime of tales to tell, and so he is happily telling stories if you are happy to listen to him. And then of course you have he and Haw, who are still drawing the wagon. And every now and again, I mean, there's some bumps. It's not an immaculate. It's not like paved with asphalt. It is like it's masoned stone. So you do get like clumps of grass, or there's really not much you can do about the flowers. The flowers just seem to find purchase anywhere. So there are mosses and some flowers, and there are bumps along the way. But it is a lot nicer than just a dirt track, or just a dirt road. Fluffy Sheep, yes, his voice was dry and wet, and smooth and raspy. What a mix.
So confused.
All right. So clapper, 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 clapper. The donkey's hooves are beating, and the winds do start to pick up. It may not be a bad idea to get the cover on your wagon if it is going to rain. Not that that takes a skill check or anything. You put the canvas loops around the poles and the pole holders on the side. And as the wagon creaks along, it is going to take you more than a day to get down to Browbeat. Fortunately, though, because Mesomasca is a developed area, there's usually either some kind of a wayside inn or some kind of they might show up on a map, but it might be just like a couple families that have made their own little farming commune like along the way. And it's not so much an inn as they're willing to put you up in their barn or in a guest house or like a guest room or something. So finding hospitality, commercial or residential, isn't necessarily a problem. It's just due to the distance that Browbeat is. In fact, let me bring up. Yeah, is Browbeat 60 miles south, and you're making about 24 miles a day?
Yeah, about that.
In overland travel, I think.
Seems about right.
Sorry, one moment. I want to look this up for my own sake, too. Services, traveling. Mounts and vehicles. I mean, you're not beating the donkeys to like go at their absolute maximum, I don't believe.
Nah, it's cruel and wrong, my dude.
Yeah, so every day it looks like you're going at a normal pace, so it'll take you, like, you'll arrive on the third day, but you'll be able to reach there.
Excellent, excellent.
Really have anything to do on the road.
Do you
want
want
to read my book some?
Yeah, I was gonna say, do you want to rest or otherwise get some?
We'll need to rest when we need to rest, right? But we can go to the end of the day.
Yeah,
I would think. I don't know. Do we? What's the weather forecast? I mean, what does it look like?
Rain at some point in time is going to be blowing in.
I go to AccuWeather and I find out what's coming for the next couple of days.
Hey, now you're not a druid. You don't have druid craft. Otherwise, you could do that. With druid craft, you get like your own little cast form, and it'll tell you what the weather is.
Next level, take magic initiate, naming druid, and take.
Hey, there you go. Okay, so carts are coming and going, and especially the further on highway, you are seeing that there's traffic. Going along. Oh, by the way, who's driving the cart?
Should I pull a hexadecimal? I'll try.
No. I'll drive. I have the best animal handling. Unless anyone has proficiency.
Nope.
Or proficiency land vehicle?
Do you actually have proficiency in animal handling?
You don't know.
No, I'm asking you that out of character, do you?
No.
But yeah, why are you asking out of character?
No, I'm asking you out of character because I'm generally curious, but Celine will step up to do it. She has a +3 to
Roleplay!
I don't think we should. I think we should let Celine drive the cart. She seems to be the most responsible of us.
Hey,
If that's a quote that's coming out of your mouth, I'm very, very scared for this party.
Perhaps you should be more scared on the fact that that's the truth. That's the truth nobody wants to hear, right? That's
Yeah,
the most
yeah.
responsible.
I can be
So
responsible
do
if
I
want to be.
do I need to make an animal handling check at all, or?
No. At least not yet. You guys aren't like, like careening down a hillside or anything. I just wanted to know who was driving in case it was relevant, or if any of you did have a proficiency.
Party for pink slips.
Because a couple backgrounds does give you land vehicle proficiency too. I think soldier, folk hero, and maybe something else.
I know soldier and folk hero do.
Okay.
Tazra is an entertainer, isn't he?
Yep, entertainer, gladiator variant.
Gladiator. Yep. Okay. And Mordecai, you're also an entertainer, aren't you? Okay. Yeah,
Well,
so,
he's a gladiator entertainer variant.
No, I mean, yeah, actually,
Yeah,
no,
Mordecai, yeah.
Word of info.
So, yeah, we'll, I suppose I'll be the one driving, considering no one has that, no one else seems to be up to the task, but I'll do it.
Okay, so the tent is put up over the wagon, and a little while later, I mean, the winds continue to pick up, and then you hear the pitter-patter of rain on the canvas. And actually, there is a very appropriate track for this that I will add. Okay. So the rains come down, the skies are dark, and you all are swapping stories. Tibba still hasn't found the words bright to express himself, though he knows that he can open up to you. He just doesn't feel confident in doing so yet.
It's okay.
And Geroff continues telling his tales. Depending on what sort of things you're interested in, he might have a tale for him. Do any of you have a particular interest in... I mean, he's lived in Mesomasca. He's lived a long life. He's seen and done a lot of things until, well, he couldn't see or do much of anything else.
Mordecai's listening intently, just absorbing it all.
Mr. Geroff, if you know anything about a man named Dulles of the Blue Flame, that would be real nice for me. But even if you don't, that's okay. Anyone who's had really strange, unexplained magic surrounding them, that could be really nice.
Dulles, Dulles of the Blue Flame. The name does seem somewhat familiar to me. I can't say that I've seen the man. I've heard things. And he goes on a little bit into this character to show that it's the right person that you're thinking of also, but it's also, I guess, common knowledge or things that a lot of people who would know of this to know Dulles of the Blue Flame. Although unless I missed a message from you, I think that you and I should do a little bit of stuff on the side regarding your side journey there. Just to make sure that I can help you progress it. But he is able to mention a time in seeing him that is outside, like it sounds like an actual personal experience, and not just the public sentiment of who the public believes this character is. Though it doesn't seem to be anything revealing of, it's nothing juicy, gossip wise or whatnot, but it does show that at some point in his life he has encountered this character.
Okay.
Anyone else have questions for Geroff?
No, not particularly. Not at this point in time.
And I tell you that, you have to watch out in those mines. All kinds of creatures live in the mountains, and I'm not just talking about the dwarves. You have to be friends with them so you can say jokes like that. Yeah. Well, he kind of like blows a snot rocket out. He sounds like he's getting a little juicier, especially now that it's raining. No. Yeah, creatures everywhere. I don't know if we'll ever live in a safe world. And I honestly don't think I'd ever want it to be any other way. I lost some friends to things that lurk in the mines, the mountains. You hear stories out of Greenshield, things that live in the in the trees. And I almost think that makes us better people. Confrontation, growing through it. Becoming stronger. Oh, you haven't truly lived until your life has been on the line.
Very true. I mean, if not for the world that we live in, I would not exist. At least not as I am.
Oh, I don't think any of us would exist if the world wasn't here. That seems really obvious.
Oh, to be so naive. Oh, I envy you all.
What does envy mean?
To be jealous.
Why would someone be jealous of Tasla?
Because you're big and strong, maybe?
You have You have... I used the same picture in my game. You have,
Well, I hope nothing bad happened here.
You have a lot going for you. You're big and you're strong, and you have us for friends. That's good. And I mean, you're gonna have a great life. I know you will.
Oh, thank you. Right? You always brighten up my day.
It's kind of in the
Very
name.
funny, Tatsuri. Very funny.
I try.
And Bright will create a shower of multicolored sparkles and a rim shot when he does that.
Hey. Almost as sparkly as me.
That's right.
All right, the rain that has blown in from the sea has in fact blown over, and the skies are still cloudy, and the sun is getting low, but it is not necessarily. It's not dark, and so the question is, as you are coming up, Geroff even confirms there should be a wayside village. You can make a decision to either continue on in the cart through the night, or stay in this very rural. I mean, look, there's probably. I won't call it a one-horse town because horses are a lot more vital now, but I mean, there's maybe 10 buildings that make up this village or this town. It's probably just a couple farming families that have gotten together for mutual protection and help. So you can stop a little early. I mean, so it would still take you your 3 days if you're traveling. You know, I guess if you power through the night, you could save some time and arrive, you know, on the second and a half day if you really wanted. But you can stop in the village, or you can press on and then camp on the road, or on the roadside if you are going to stop. What would you like to do?
Can't stop.
Well, we
Travel
do-
through the night because he and Ha will get hurt. But I don't know if we need to stop here either. It depends if the weather looks really bad, and I don't know. I look up and I see if the weather looks bad. If it looks really bad, we should stop. But if it's going to be okay, I don't mind camping along the side of the road. We'll just have to keep watch, but we should get used to that.
Hasray will protect the camp.
Okay.
Bright agreed.
Jade is looking up and trying to see if there's any chance of rain happening in the next few hours.
Rain is a possibility, as the sky is overcast and the clouds are dark, and well, they're getting darker because of a lack of sun with every passing hour. Rain is a possibility, but not a guarantee.
I don't want to stop. But if he's out in the cold, he's going to get sicker and sicker. He's not going to make it. I can't break that promise. Right? Don't make me break that promise.
Oh, no, I won't. You can keep your promise. That's why we're all here to do this. We're all here together, so you can keep your promises. So, what? I don't really want to stop, and it sounds like you don't want to stop, and it sounds like Taz doesn't want to stop. What about you guys, Celine and Mordecai? Do you want to stop?
I'm alright with camping out on the side of the road. I've done so many times.
So camping is fun. It's just we need to be careful.
Okay.
If it looks like heavy rain, we might want to stop here. But otherwise, if it's a light drizzle, it's not going to hurt anyone.
Okay.
We've got tents.
I do have 3 tents, so I think we'll be okay.
All right. So you're gonna pass through the wayside village.
I think so.
Okay. What are each of your passive investigations?
It's 11.
I mean, passive investigation is only really mentioned in the one feat that says you get a bonus to it, but it's never defined anywhere.
It doesn't particularly exist.
Yeah.
But
I have +3 to intelligence, and I don't have proficiency in investigation, so I guess that would make it 13.
Yep.
I have
That's
a
fine.
investigation
Which is
of 10.
It's better than my passive perception, which is 10. So.
All right. So I have a 10, 11, 13. What else?
Tazray has a 9.
It's intelligence. I have a -1 to intelligence.
Okay. So instead of putting clues together naturally, you actually take them apart.
yeah, that sounds about right.
Okay. Mordecai, what was yours? I'm sorry.
Sorry, my investigation passive is 11.
11. Okay. Okay, so in passing through, the village does seem to be an extension of Browbeat in so much that you do see what you see on screen here. There's the mountains that are off in the distance, and a lot of the... Oh yeah, and none of you are dwarves with stone cutting either. That's fine. Let me make sure that I'm describing this the proper way. So yeah, the stone is of the mountains, and the buildings do look... I don't know. They look old, but it's also because, like, again, nature's just reclaimed it. Just like it does on the highway, right? You know, you got moss on the roofs, there's flowers that are growing here and there. The road is more paved than what you see in the picture, as is the cobbles that have been sunk into the earth still continue along. And bright, as you're passing through, it is evening. With a 13 investigation, while the storm did come in pretty quickly, you do see that there are some clothes that were left out on a clothesline to dry that are just sort of like wet and floppy.
Okay. Are they near the road, or are they just like down an alley somewhere? Or
No. So if you're traveling down the road here and you're passing by this kind of gap between buildings here, you're seeing it. It would be behind the building a little bit, like behind there. You see how there's a different plane that, you know, there's an entrance up here, so that continues through the building, and so that there's a clothesline up here that has some wet, soggy clothes hanging off of it.
I don't know. I don't want to stop travel to go like deal with the clothes. But if I can prestidigitate them dry as we pass by, I might do that.
Does it have a range? What's the range on it?
It's 30 feet. Let me double check that. Is 10 feet, so it wouldn't be in range. Probably.
Oh, okay. I don't know if anyone took like a 10-foot pole to have you hang on to and stick you out the side of the cart as you pass by.
I wouldn't want to do that either.
It's just dangling right at the end of a pole here to do a drive-by prestidigitation. Okay, nope, that's fine. All right, so you're passing through. The hour is growing dark. There are a couple lights on in some of the buildings, but not all of them. And you continue down the road, and the sun continues its track behind the horizon. You have been traveling for over 8 hours, and Celine, you did get a good night's rest before, maybe not a complete one. So it's going to come down to you as the driver of the cart, with a possibility of exhaustion setting in at some point in time. How far would you like to continue driving before you stop?
So how much time do we have left in the day? How long has it been since our last long rest?
Since your last long rest, it's been not even the night before because you didn't get a full long rest. So it would have been the night before that. You all could have short rest. Well, actually, hang on. If you're traveling... So, Celine, you're driving. You wouldn't be able to really get a long rest. For those who are in the back of the cart, I'd argue you could get continual short rests, but maybe not a full long rest because of the nature of the travel, maybe some stresses and whatnot along the way. So if anything refilled on a short rest, you would definitely have several opportunities for those. But yeah, it's been over a day since you've had a proper long rest mechanically.
Okay.
We could have had a short rest last night, or at some point maybe during lunch or something. It would have been okay.
Yeah, or any of you who are in the back of the cart, you're not really doing anything stressful, so you can have short rests along the way there too.
Yeah. Okay. So since short rest, just trying to figure it out so I know when to stop before I get exhaustion, because exhaustion's actually pretty horrible to deal with. Especially since if someone's suffering from exhaustion and you ask for our passive investigations, that's a -5. And Tazray's passive investigation will drop to a 4. Which is very bad.
Hey, our only frenzy whenever we get into a fight.
He's investigating the back of his eyelids.
The first level exhaustion
checking them
only
for holes.
Yeah, the first level exhaustion only affects skill checks. It doesn't affect attacks.
Yeah, no, but I mean, Matty just asked for our passive investigations,
Which is kind of a skill.
We have disadvantage on those passive checks, which means a -5,
That's
including
okay.
passive perception as well.
I think we're mostly just worried about he and Ha. We don't want them to get hurt, because if our animals get hurt, then we'll be in trig bubble. So I think we should make sure to take care of them and not so much worry about if we get exhausted, because even if we get exhausted, we'll get better after a long rest. So we can take any time we want. But if the animals are lame, then they're just hurt, and then we'll have to heal them or fix them. So let's.
That is true. So we'll keep going until what's the time right now?
Let's see. We have you journeying. Did I give a season? I think it was spring we were talking about. No? Okay. Well, shame on me. I normally like trying to open up with that, but okay. We're going to say it's early springtime, and so the sun, if we're using our Earth chronology, the sun would be going down around probably 7 o'clock or so. That sounds about right. So yeah, it's a little after 7 p.m. and the sun. I mean, the sun's gone because of the
Clouds.
how you're going and you're traveling. If you're traveling west, the mountains are blocking. Like there's already really long shadows. There's still a sun you can see sort of cresting up above the mountains, but it's not visible due to the mountains.
Yeah. Okay. Well, first light would be about 5 a.m. ish.
I'm sorry, what?
So, first light would be about 5 a.m. ish.
That's too early, I think, for spring. It's probably going to be. So we're not. I don't think we're at the equinox yet. So it wouldn't be like a 6 and 6. So it'd probably be a 7 and 8 split. So it'd probably be first light would be 8 a.m.
First light 8 a.m. All right then. We will we'll stop at around midnight, and then take a long rest on the road.
We should probably stop a little sooner than that, so that we have time to put up the tents and make a fire and maybe, just get comfortable a little so that...
Yeah, I mean that shouldn't take too long. So
your butt is certainly numb, Celine. You've been bouncing on it all day.
Yeah. So yeah, we can stop a little bit earlier than that. We'll stop around 11 o'clock. Because that's a full day's worth of riding.
True.
From first light. If first light's about 8 a.m., then that's about 15, 16 hours worth of riding.
Okay.
It's a full day.
Celine, then if you're gonna continue doing this, go ahead and give me a con save at advantage.
Okay.
Nice. All right, so Celine, like you're definitely, there's points where just the rhythm of the wheels, that constant bouncing, and just, you're getting kind of, whoa, you're a little heavy lidded here in the driver's seat. You haven't been pushing the donkeys, so they've been relatively okay. They haven't really been complaining more than the occasional hee haw. But that's expected.
Be talking to each other, saying each other's names.
But definitely, Celine, your body's getting to the point where you're not suffering exhaustion. But if you don't stop moving for a while, then your body's going to force you to stop moving.
Yeah. At this point, I am going to pull the cart over. If there's a small divot on the side of the road.
It would be better if we could get the cart farther off to the side of the road so that people passing by don't disturb us.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can take your cart off of the highway. It's just, it would take a bit of a team effort because it is actually raised up slightly off the ground. So you actually kind of have to get it over this like little lip and then down the bump to get into the grass and in off to the side. It's not impossible, but you all are going to have to get wet and put a little muscle work into it.
Alright.
Tazray has muscle.
Tazray, with others' help then, as you probably do have a couple muscles still working somewhere, why don't you roll an athletics at advantage? And Celine...
No. I saw this one coming. Taz is going to roll a 17.
Hey, nice. And so, that's sure you're using that last one.
17 plus 5. That's a 22.
22, yeah.
Celine, give me an animal handling also.
Animal handling? Alright.
Okay. Alright, so, I mean, you all get a little damp, but you managed to, with Tibba and Geroff in the wagon, to get it over the bump, and you take the wagon off the side of the road. It is still raining, so a fire is not impossible, but would be difficult to have going. So what would you like to do for your accommodations for your camp here?
Well, we'll set up a small fire, and have the tent set up so people can rest easy.
Is there just one tent you have? Because one tent I think can accommodate 2 people.
Oh, we got 3 tents.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
3
I
tents
bought
gets
2
more
extra.
table too.
Geralt asks if it's alright if he just sleeps in the cart.
Yeah.
We'll stay with him.
It'd probably be better if I do, just in case, something happens.
Well, I'll have to take a watch. Or we should, if we don't want to get murdered and robbed in our sleep, which is
Yeah,
the
we
worst
all
time to
take
get
watch.
murdered and robbed. So,
Yeah.
I really need a rest, so I don't mind taking the last watch before everybody else.
I'll take watch
the last one,
before that.
but I don't want to take one of the middle ones because I'm sleepy.
Alright, well, I'll take the middle one. I'll take the first watch then.
And I'll take the second.
I thought I would. If you want to pair up.
Alright, yeah, okay.
Celine, you and Bright probably are in most of the dire need of sleep. You've been driving and you've been driving all day, so
I'll take first.
if you want a middle, that's fine. But in concept, your body's extremely tired, and you probably wouldn't mind, pounding out 4 to 6 hours up front and then doing something at the end.
Alright,
So
yeah, no, I'll do
somebody
that.
can take one off, and I think it's okay if it's Celine's turn this time.
Alright, we'll do that. And,
Okay.
Yeah.
How are you getting a fire in the rain?
One. I have Firebolt. Can also start them with Prestidigitation, so I have 2 different ways.
And I can use Thaumaturgy to kind of encourage the light to go brighter.
Okay. Then can someone give me a survival to try and get up a bunch of twigs, tinder, grasses, or something to use as fuel? Who would like to do a survival for that?
I'll take it.
Okay.
Okay, Mordecai, you're a pretty good manservant. You go out and you fetch the things that you've been asked to fetch. And Mordecai, the blue butler, has returned with a decent amount. It's wet, but you all have prestidigitation and such to help dry it out. And in order to help counteract the rain that's falling, there's thaumaturgy and other magical supplements to help keep a fire flickering. So with some teamwork, well, at least as such as you all are conscious and mindful, you can get at least a small little kind of a wet fire going. Like so it's giving off like a white smoke because you're trying to keep things dry, but there's still a rain that's coming down.
It's like a drizzle or a hard rain.
In between that, so I guess a light rain is appropriate.
Okay.
Yeah. Once the fire's going and things are drying and you keep it fueled, it'll probably not need too much extra attention. But getting it going and keeping it bright may take some poking through a survival check or some magic or something. All right. So Jade, you were taking first watch.
Yes. I will do it.
Okay. Does Jade have any special senses?
She doesn't see it. No. No, nothing particularly special, unless it involves literature.
Okay.
I hear some eyes of the green.
We have Jade, and then who's up after Jade?
Me.
Okay,
Mordecai.
Jade, Mordecai, Taz,
Yeah, Taz, and then Bright was going to take the last one.
Celine, Bright. Okay, got it. So the sun has very well set. It's dark. Jade, you have this camp, right? So there's a campfire and some tents around it. You have the cart, And Geroff does ask every now and again if you could bring a warm rock from beside the fire into the cart so that it can help keep him warm. And Tibba is actually kind of curled up next to him too, helping to provide warmth and also just kind of. He's been listening to stories and taking some comfort. Are you in the cart? Are you walking around? Are you?
Jade ends up keeping most of her attention on the cart. That's her primary charge.
Okay.
The primary reason for them both to be out. She ends up making a point to quickly end up taking rocks with nothing more than a old bit of her own dress. Is they're rolling them in with a large stick and carrying them quickly as she can smell the fabric starting to smolder along with her hair on occasion.
Ooh. All right. What is your passive perception, by the way, Jade?
12.
12? Okay. The pitter-patter of rain, is that the sound of machinations? Is that the rhythm of something bigger and greater and all around us? Is it just a random pattern? Is anything random? You can ask yourself these questions and more. As far as Jade knows, nothing outside or nothing unusual occurs on her watch. So
that is good. Nothing happens on watch.
If you wish to wake up Mordecai.
Come on, devil child. This is your time to end up watching.
And so he gets up.
Mordecai.
So fresh.
What is your passive perception?
13.
All right, and you do have dark vision. Do you have any other special senses?
I was gonna cast dancing lights around the camp while I watch.
Okay. Are you keeping the three little like lanterns, or are you forming them into the humanoid figure to kind of walk around?
Just kind of like hovering around the camp, just to give like extra light.
Okay, so you want the three little lights and not the one medium-sized one? Okay.
Right.
All right. So Jade, as you're going asleep, Mordecai summons these little like color. What color do you want the light to be?
White.
Okay. So these little like white lights that are just sort of floating around like little will-o-wisps kind of a thing. And you can get to sleep or whatever semblance of it that you ever achieve. Go ahead and make a perception, Mordecai.
Okay.
An active one.
Oof.
Okay. Mordecai, as far as you know, there's nothing that is nothing is amiss on your watch. The rain continues to patter down. Maybe in some way, if you're seeking inspiration as a character, you're finding something for song lyrics or a poem. The way that the dancing lights move themselves, let alone as they play over wet surfaces and grasses that are already bending in the wind, you can come up with different imagery.
Mm.
But you can now go over to Tazray and give him a little shimmy shake.
All right, you're up.
Fight. Oh, okay.
No.
Okay.
Chill. It's just me.
Chill. Nice.
Not
Damn it,
intended.
Tazray! Damn it, Tazray!
Okay.
Fair play.
I got this.
All right. You sure?
All right.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Now, Dragonborns being the descendants of the superior species that can fly and have like 24/7 true sight and all this other stuff, do not have dark vision. But do you have any other special? Do you have any other special senses that your barbarian self, or I don't know, anything else that you are wishing to use?
No, I do not.
Okay. What is your passive?
Wait, I got my danger sense, I think.
Yeah, that's advantage on deck saves against effects you can see.
Yeah.
So not really useful in this case.
My passive perception is a 10.
Okay. All right, so maybe passive investigation, passive perception, passive insight, mental skills aren't your strong point, but that's fine.
He's a big dumb dragonborn that hits things very, very hard.
So Taz, go ahead and actually hang on. Taz, go ahead and give me a perception at disadvantage.
Oh boy! All right, let me pull out my handy dandy spectacles that I do not have.
So you just going like this?
Oh, natural 20.
All right, but it's at disadvantage, and so unfortunately we got to go with that 10.
Ouch.
Oh.
Wow. Tazray, I don't know. It's not. You may be a barbarian, but you still think thoughts, and it's a rainy evening, right? It's the fire crackles and spits, and you hear a lot of hissing because of the rain, and so there's some steam mixed in with the smoke. There are various smells. It's a rather chilly rain. It because of the season. We're just at that point where, well, maybe not so much for you because of your draconic ancestry, so you're probably comfy. But it's at that point where you're like, I really just wish it was colder so it would snow, because otherwise it's that bone-chilling rain. It's that, 2 degrees Celsius rain, or that, or the Fahrenheit equivalent here, where it's just cold enough to make you miserable otherwise.
Yeah.
Okay, yep. I got you, Fluffy. All right, but anyway, so you find yourself lost in some kind of thought. The thought snuck up on you and kind of struck you, but you've been dancing with it for a little while, and time has passed, and the shift is over.
Who is next, Tazray?
The cricket is singing along with Bright's burbles.
Oh, okay. So Taz is gonna go over to Bright, and he's gonna pick Bright up.
Oh, it's you. You got me pretty good. That was a good one.
Oh, thank you. It's your... Okay? You okay? You're breathing. Did I puncture something?
Oh no. I'm okay. You just startled me, but it's okay. I was finishing up my rest anyway. So it's okay.
Okay.
Thanks to Journeyman, who hosted us with 45 viewers. That was really great of you, J-Man. Welcome to you and everyone else. In case you need context for the noises that just came out of one of my players' mouths, our gnome was just suddenly picked up in her sleep by the Dragonborn and kind of taken outside in the rain. But yes,
it's your shift.
Okay, that's
hopefully
fine.
nothing scary comes out. And if
I don't
anything
mind
does,
scary.
I'm here.
I room with Jade every night, so scary's actually not so bad.
Yeah, and you know, pretty isn't bad either. I room with Mordecai. All right, I'm gonna go sleep or whatever normal people do.
Okay, that's fine.
He just casually puts her down and walks off. Into a tent.
okay, so Bright, you do have dark vision, being a gnome, and even if you didn't, the light is starting to come up now, as we're taking a couple hours for every portion of the shift, and you did go a fair bit into the night. Is there anything that you would like to do, sensory wise, or what? And also, what is your passive perception?
Passive perception is 10.
Okay.
But you know, the only thing I could really do would be to maybe, if there are squirrels and foxes and things out and about at this time of the morning, I would be able to ask them if they had seen anything.
There may be, because of the rain in the early morning. If you want to give me, I know you're trying to track them down. Unless you're doing it magically, I guess something like a survival. But it's going to be at disadvantage because of the conditions.
A normal talk to animals ability. So, but yeah, I can roll survival.
Well, but you got to find one first, right?
Oh, okay. I did not find one.
Okay, they must still be down in their burrows. There's probably some around, but you just haven't found any to talk to. I mean, the cricket's still on your head. So
he hasn't seen anything except lots and lots of floofy big hair.
Yeah,
so it's okay.
And this humidity is not doing your hair any justice.
I'll be able to do my hair because I'll have a couple hours on watch when nothing's going on.
Okay, let's go ahead and roll a perception, a normal perception. Okay, with an 11, everything seems fine. I mean, you even kind of you poked around the ditches and under brushes and briars and whatnot that are out this way. As far as you're concerned, no one else has really passed by. You know what? Probably toward the end of your shift, up on the road, there's a couple carts. There's like one coming and one going from the town of Browbeat. None of them stop and get out or wave or, you know, attack you. But there are a couple early morning travelers on the road. And your shift ends. Now we come over to Sleepy Celine.
Yes, Celine.
Time to get up. Everybody to get up. We have to get going. We have a long way to go today. Wakey, wakey.
Yes,
And
yes.
ringing bells fill the air. Prestidigitation.
Bong, bong, bong.
Yeah, I'll get up.
Okay. Celine, being a half elf, I know that you do have dark vision, but I mean that is becoming increasingly irrelevant. Do you have any other special senses you wish to use while you're on shift?
Well, Celine's not taking a shift. We took 4 shifts.
I didn't know if you were each going mini shifts. Oh, you're waking her up to drive. That's fine. That's fine.
Yeah. So I had a full rest.
Okay. All right. So you all are you're beginning to wake up now, Celine, and it's time to start getting some things ready. Apparently there's potatoes being launched in chat right now at at the raid members.
I wondered where my potato went.
The morning ceases getting any brighter as either the clouds just continue to be overcast or they grow thicker to match the sun that is growing higher in the sky. And this steady light rain with some patches of fog and such continue to drizzle down. And as you're up and getting ready and the others are stirring, you do see that there's a cart similar to yours, like a work cart, that does stop along the highway, though no one gets out of it. It has its cover up, and there are 2 horses that are pulling it, not donkeys. But the cart just does stop. If I mean equivalent. Oop, I hit my mic. Equivalent to where you are, kind of in the field and the ditch. It's on the highway.
Okay. I'm gonna have a look and see if there's something up, or
I'll go with her.
Okay, Celine and Mordecai are going to approach the stopped cart.
Just having a look at it to begin with, before I decide to go over.
Okay, it's a dark brown cart pulled by two very powerful horses. Like, they may not necessarily be like beasts of burden. They could certainly pull a plow if they need to. But they're very powerful horses in appearance. There is a figure sitting on a bench where you would normally be on yours, Celine. But he is wearing kind of like an oiled slick, so that the rain continues to, to beat off the figure.
We're just gonna get up and get going. Try and avoid them. They have things that they need to be doing, where we have things that we need to be doing.
Okay, so you're starting to break down camp?
But we can take the horses. I think if we could take the horses, they're a good draft. They go far. They go faster.
Yeah, but they're
Steal their
claims.
horses.
There's someone there.
I don't want to deal with that.
Nope. We're not stealing horses.
Let's not steal horses today. I'm not nearly desperate enough to steal a horse.
Wait, you said
I could barely steal a pearl, and I'm gonna give that one back when I'm done with it. So I definitely don't want to steal a horse.
You said today that insinuates, whatever insinuate means, that you were going to steal, per se, a horse, per se, another cart, per se.
Steal a horse in the future. Don't ask me how I know that. I just have a sense.
The divination wizard says they're gonna steal a horse in the future. They're gonna steal a horse in the future.
In the future.
Yeah, and we're gonna try and avoid these people as much as possible if we can.
Yeah.
Tazray, insinuation is when you stuff hay into your walls to help keep the cold out and the heat in. That's insinuation.
That's insulation.
It's a big word, Taz. It's fine.
Wait, there's a difference?
Yes.
Yes.
Big words hurt.
Big words, just keep to the small ones. It's fine.
Okay.
Insulation is wall stuffing. Insinuation is telling someone to do something.
Supra caulifloweristic exploration.
Your voice cut out there, but I think we saw where you're going.
Califragilistic
No,
Sounds like a fun word. I think I'm gonna remember that one. Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious.
No, it's
Could use that as a verbal component for a spell.
No, it's not it. It's Supra cauliflower exploration orlodocious.
Oh.
Nope.
It must be his draconic dialect version. Two figures in these rain slicks come out of the back of the wagon, and they begin walking over to you all when you're breaking down your camp.
I do have a half hand towards my rapier just in case I need it.
Same.
Tazray already has his sickle out. He just hold.
Guys,
His sickle
you're
is
gonna
a
make
shot.
him mad. There's no need to draw your weapons. They're just coming over.
I don't know. He hasn't drawn their weapons. They're just hands towards the weapons, just in case.
Oh.
But I have a sickle out now. As his child, this is my child. This is my sickle. Respect the sickle.
Okay, but you're gonna make him mad.
Because I have a sickle.
I mean, you can cut ropes with a sickle.
Yeah, exactly.
The figures stop about 40 feet away. No need for weapons. Put them away. We're only searching for someone. Perhaps you've seen him.
Who?
Oh,
I'm sorry, if you said something, I missed it.
Who are you searching for?
We're searching for a little boy. A runaway of sorts. We're looking for him to return him to his family.
Could you describe this boy?
Hang on 1 second here. This is this was the 13.
Hey.
Okay.
This is why I stopped using these spells a long time ago.
At least you tried.
Well, there's no save just for the surface thoughts. I mean, it's only for the deeper probing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just what I say for the surface thoughts,
Yeah.
just for the deeper probing.
As they describe the child, as far as you can tell, Jade, because this is occupying their surface thoughts, they are describing Tibba Flowerfield. Although, Jade, I would like you to make an insight at advantage, simply because you're getting a more pure version of what they're saying compared to what they're thinking.
21.
21.
Okay. So Jade, they definitely want to receive, to track down this child and to take him, to their master. And it is a singular, it's like their singular focus. It's something that their minds are very acutely focused on doing. Even on a surface level, it's what's occupying. And so any of the other side thoughts, like they're looking around, the figure is scanning. So he says, 3 tents, cart, 2 mules, 3 tents, campfire. Looks like it's been about, 6 hours. So he's doing these kind of, for someone who might be used to tracking, is noticing is just noticing things about the situation going on around him. Does that make sense?
That makes sense.
Okay.
Then I have another point I'd like to end up doing. Jade slides into the back of the cart for a second and gestures down, going to the child, and simply ends up going, pats him on the head.
No, I don't want bugs for breakfast, Jade.
Am I in range here?
In range of what?
Well, where am I standing? Where is my person?
Bye.
Were you sleeping in a tent?
I had the last watch, so I wasn't.
Oh, yeah.
specifically
You would have been up and about. So you would have been, if you're waking up Celine, then you would be in the camp, which, I mean, it's by the, you pulled the cart off and you made camp beside it. So you're all kind of together. So these figures would be about 40 feet away from you as well.
Okay, so but I'm over. Like I can see Jade make. Can I see Jade going over to the cart?
Jade's been inside the cart. She spent the night in there.
Oh, okay. So
I'm gonna go ahead and cast Enthrall.
Ooh.
Child has disappeared. Not that anybody knows that, but the child has gone bye-bye.
you're out as if I knew that had happened.
Nope, that's
So
all
that'll
good.
be a wisdom save.
At least for a minute, they'll be focused on me.
Okay.
Very good.
There's 2 of them, so because this rolls 2 dice, I'll just take each of the 2 results. Wow, feast or famine.
One fails, one does not.
Okay, so one's still looking around and is standing in a neutral position. The other one, though, his head kind of snaps over to you, Mordecai, and he starts walking closer to you, not in an aggressive fashion, but he wants to just step closer to, you there, you.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Have you seen a child about 10 years old, slightly portly? He would have been on a ship that came into Mask of Flowers, which seems to be where this card is from.
I know nothing of that child. You must be mistaken.
Deception? Because you're distracting him, but you're not necessarily muddling his mind in that fashion.
Oh, yeah, that's definitely a deception check.
That's 22.
Okay.
You have the wrong card. I mean, I don't know where you got your idea that we had him.
Through a little investigating, we found out that there were some people who were traveling with a child, and the card seemed to match the description of this one. Do you mind...
There's plenty of cards that look like this.
Do you mind if I take a peek inside? I'll make it worth your while.
You may as well. You're gonna get gold out of it. He has disadvantage on all the checks, so you may as well.
Okay.
Of course.
So Jade, you see that this cloaked figure, kind of like, whoop, comes up and begins looking in the back of the covered wagon here. Geralt is just kind of like wetly snoring in the corner, and you're in there, and he looks at you.
As soon as he does, immediately here, Jade ends up offering him a bit of rations. One. You take now. And there's just worms and all this coming out of the bag. Like, please take good protein.
No, I don't eat such things. Jade, as you're very close to this character, and as the rain isn't like pouring down between you and he, you can make a perception check. Okay. So Jade, your hair's a little bit in your eyes, and you gotta wear the side ponytails like Bright. Come on.
Focus in on those worms. Really enjoying the worms.
Yeah. So the character scans around and gives a bit of a shrug, looks over to the other person, and kind of does a I can't actually do it with the two fingers in the mouth whistle, but gives a bit of a signal whistle, and sorry for your trouble. Here. And Jade, he reaches into a pocket and pulls out some kind of a coin and flips it over to you. There's more where that came from. If you see this child, his family really wishes for his return, and we will pay a great amount to see that he is returned to his family.
We will keep that in mind.
Oh, okay. She looks and starts to look back through the cart and smiles a bit. Well, if I find any children, well, I just adore them. Could never eat a whole one, though.
Well,
Jade, as you have this coin and you were kind of nibbling on it or whatnot, you can make a history also.
Oh, I actually rolled well for once.
Jade, this is a Mesomascan silver piece, but as you're kind of like nibbling on it, the texture or like the angles of the side just don't feel right. And as you take a look, in appearances and weight, it is a Mesomascan silver, though You notice it's a little tarnished, and a little bit of your saliva's on there. You see, you kind of go eka 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 eka, and get the tarnish off. And the date of the coin is actually a couple hundred years ago. Like we're talking maybe very early. Mesomasca was even beginning to be settled, like Settlers of Catan style, not even developed, but settled.
Well, then I would end up gladly showing you a thing or two if your lord pays with such, well, artifacts. I'll have to keep an eye out, several eyes out, rip them out.
If you seek artifacts, or you seek wealth, you would do well by us and our master to tell us where the child is.
Who is the master? If you are not working for the family, then who is the friend of the family?
We are working for the family. That is why we wish to so earnestly retrieve the child.
So
Can I tell if they're lying?
Well, so you can in a way. Right now, this is the character that's up in the wagon with Jade, not the other one who's stayed behind and is kind of by you all in the party outside. Jade, if you wish to roll an insight to match my deception, then...
Told you
Okay.
I can't roll. There's no point
Wow.
in me rolling. I know I auto-fail.
So, he's like, enjoy your bright sunny day. And Jade says, I will. I'm happy. And these are just two, like, it's a race to the bottom of the barrel, folks.
In all technicality, I'm also still in the car, because that's where I was sleeping, and I haven't gone yet.
Oh, you slept in the cart, Celine? I thought you were in a tent.
Yeah. No.
We didn't actually talk about sleeping
Yeah, we
arrangements.
didn't tell where we actually were. So may I
Well,
have an insight against
so
this?
playing it where it lies with how I had you in my brain. Well, I had you getting up and you're kind of helping everyone break stuff down and get stuff to the cart. However, the interaction with the figure that is with Jade is effectively over, as they each give a very awkward, like, wink and a nod to each other that they both accept, and and so he leaves, and the other figure then that the other four of you have been kind of watching, walks backward a couple paces in a manner you don't need to roll an insight, but he's walking backwards just to make sure that he keeps you all in sight. And after the other figure approaches him and puts a hand on his shoulder, both the figures now have turned and have walked up to their carriage, and hit the figure sitting on the saddle or in the bench. Waste no time. Flicks the reins and clappa 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 clappa. They go off along the highway.
Those are my two most hated people on this planet.
Then you clearly need to end up meeting more. As they end up going, Jay just reaches over and, like, tearing a blanket off the kid, then suddenly appears like a magic trick.
How did
I
you do
was-
that?
I was actually concerned that they would find him.
How did you
Worried
he
that they would
disappeared?
find him. I knew all along he was just as safe as a bug in a rug.
How did you?
Your cricket kind of chirps in appreciation as well.
As safe as a bug in a hairdo.
One's trying to pour him out of her mouth.
Jade, I couldn't see myself. I couldn't see my hands or my feet.
No. And they couldn't either.
Jade, did you just make my skin invisible?
No, don't be silly. If that were the case, I don't need to make your skin invisible to see your arteries and veins and muscles and bone. I got a knife for that.
Oh, it's a magic knife?
It can be.
Jade, Jade, you can't eat the child.
That was pretend.
Jade, you also can't eat the giant Dragon Ball.
Oh, I just want the eyelids. No, how I did that. That was...
Nothing, Tazray. Jade, please.
The mind is frail and will see what it wants to see. And if you know that, you can make it see or unsee a lot of things. Because it's not real. It's never real.
Oh,
This is true.
Can you teach me that trick? Because I wish a lot of things weren't real.
Yes. So do I, child. So do I.
So that means we could be friends?
No.
Oh. Is it
So
because
you
I'm
can be
fat?
friends.
Child.
You're my friend and she's my friend. That means you're friends too. That's how it works. The transitive property of friends.
Please, no. That means bad things. That means bad things. That
No,
means terrible things.
but Jade is my friend, and you're my friend. We're all friends, which means we're all friends because the transitive property of
That's the associative property of friends.
I am going to roll a will save at this point.
Okay.
Okay.
Because you are all legitimately scaring the ever-loving hell out of her.
Celine hasn't said
We're
anything.
all friends down here.
And it's
Celine
at
hasn't said anything since
Why?
And it's at this point, Jade literally, like,
Just-
when you're saying, we're all friends, and she just dives right into the mud, getting the hell out of there as quick as possible, hiding behind a tree like this is the scariest thing she's ever
That
seen.
was not what I wanted to do.
That-
And apparently is being cursed by
Yeah.
That was not what I wanted to do. That was an accident. No, I was just trying to pull that down. To
Run
check
after
it.
Jade. No, you'll get all muddy. You're gonna get all muddy, and now I'm gonna have to clean you. It's gonna take like 10 minutes to get you all patched up after this.
yeah. See,
It's
I
okay.
kind
It's
of.
not friends.
All right. Jade runs off through the mud and the rain and the brush. Bright chases after. Taz, Mordecai, Celine. What do?
I'm going after them.
Okay.
That looks like
it's okay.
Taz is going to dive into the mud.
Okay. Taz is diving into a mud puddle too for the fun of it, and Celine.
Yep.
I don't know if I want to waste a second on a spell slot. I think I do. Yeah, fuck it. I'm gonna do that. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to just check something very quickly. Okay. So I'm going to go over towards Jade, and I am
Jade
going
is
to cast.
Jade is cowering
Yeah.
behind a tree right now. Like,
Yeah, Jade is kind of running off. Like, if you're all acting in the immediacy, Jade has already run off. She is not local to you right now.
No, it's within 60 feet. So, and I'm going to cast Calm some emotions.
Okay, Jade. I would like you to make a stealth check, as you're effectively hiding. You're trying to hide away from people in the world. So. Wow, another.
Brig is a perfect hiding spot.
Natural one.
Derek, I don't know.
There is
Like, people say that they have cursed
So much
dice
fun.
sets. You don't even have a physical dice set to curse. Like, this is some like electronic ghosts kind of like.
Ghost in the
Now
machine.
you see
The actual character. The actual character of Jade is cursed.
I mean,
Yeah.
Derek, you are so talented. You can ROLE play and ROLL play simultaneously. Just a tragic character full of full of misfortune, and it's uncanny. All right, so Celine, you can see that Jade's hiding behind, like, it's like a sapling. I mean, I don't know if you played like Don't Starve or something. There's a difference between a sapling and a tree. Like, she's trying to like Scooby-Doo hide behind like a little like twig of a new tree. Yeah, exactly. Like, it's covering her.
Yeah.
So like, she doesn't even have any sort of like bonuses or cover or protection. You have full line of sight, line of effect, and line of pity or whatever else that you want to take out on her.
line of credit.
Yeah, or even a line of credit. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that
Wow!
I'm not surprised about.
And Jade pulls through to continue the tragedy.
I mean, it depends.
Remember, it's not about high or low. It's a matter of in your favor or not.
So
Yeah, but no, you.
Wow.
But no, a creature can choose to fail if it wishes. So Jade can either choose to fail or take the 22.
So it feels like some sort of emotional hand on your shoulder is wanting to try and console you, but you can flick it away and hiss at it, or you can let it warm your heart.
Let me do a quick wisdom check.
Jade has a heart?
Okay. If that's the case, then Jade, terrified, absolutely terrified of this group, is hanging on to that tree for dear life, and it takes a minute before her grip starts to pull out. Her fingers are actually no longer digging into the sapling, stripping bark. She starts to kind of fall to her knees for a second, and she just looks up at you all, and she's just shaking her head.
Celine, you are aware of the nature of your own spell here, and I mean, you do have to concentrate to keep it up, because it's your concentration that is acting as a bit of a tranquilizer. Like, you just shot you shot an emotional tranq dart into Jade's butt sticking out from behind this twig.
Okay.
And when it does say when the spell ends, the creature becomes hostile, or in this case, cowed or timid again.
Unless she's sufficiently calmed down that she can control herself.
So you have a minute. You have a minute countdown to try and now actually build a bridge, not an illusory bridge, but to try and actually get her into a calm state.
Yeah, and I am gonna try and do that by going
I should
over.
do this one. I should do this one.
Yes, actually, Bright, if you would like.
Yeah, I'll do it. So I'll go over to Jade. Hi, Jade.
Not friends. Not friends. Not friends. Not friends. Not friends.
Hold my hand. It's okay. Just don't break it. Don't break it. I'm not as tough as a tree branch. Okay. See, that's okay. That's okay. So, you're my friend, aren't you? Don't you think it's that way?
She pulls her hand, the mention of it.
Okay.
The sheer mention of it, every time you say that, is no, this is the worst thing that could possibly happen.
That's okay. So, but you stay with me, right? We go places together.
Yeah. Yes.
And I think we take care of each other, because I know I take care of you, and sometimes you take care of me too.
Just can't be friends.
You took care of Boxy. You made him invisible when he was in trouble. See? So it doesn't really matter what we call things. It just matters what you do.
I don't want to kill you. I don't want to kill you. I don't want to kill you.
It's okay.
I don't want to kill you.
Nobody's going to kill anybody.
Now, does Bright wish to, because you have a minute before the spell wears off, you can continue your negotiation, but as you've had a minute, do you wish to supplement the calm emotions with a spell of your own, or do you want to do some kind of other skill check or something else to try and soothe her?
I mean, we're just having a chat. I don't have a spell here.
Bright, I'll end up asking you, what do you think is actually going on in her head right now?
That's a good question.
It's I mean, out of character. I mean, obviously, it seems like because Jade believes that she brings trouble to the people around her, that the more she's tied to them, the more dangerous she is to them, and so she has to do that rejection in order to protect not only herself but them as well. And so for 5 people all to say yes, we're all friends, that's a lot of not just threat but also responsibility in the way that Jade sees it. So she can't stand that burden in a sense. So that's why I'm going with the angle of, it doesn't matter what we call it. It only matters what you do, and that's where I was going with that.
Matty, if I call for a roll on this one?
Sure.
Can you roll persuasion at advantage? You bang, you got the idea. It's not completely correct, but it's not far off.
At 12.
50-50, I will take it. Jade takes a moment. She takes a moment as she she's crawling in the mud. She just doesn't want to stand. Maybe she's afraid of that concept. And right now, as she starts to kind of come up to you in the mud and the rain dripping off her wet hair, as she slowly starts to stand, her shoulders are down. There's this pathetic, defeated look in her as she just slowly, heavy step after heavy step in thick mud, trying to slowly follow you back to the cart.
So just go ahead and get in the cart here. Have a cleaning on me. So prestidigitate away some of the mud, and I mean there's a lot of it, so it's not going to be all of it, but just in some key places, maybe around her face or around her hands, and I'll say here. So we're gonna go with Geroff, because I know that you take care of him, and all these other people. You can call them anything you want to. That's the best part about names, is that you can have as many as you want. So you can call them anything you like, and but we'll just all travel together for now, and that's all we need to say. Is that okay?
That's fair.
Okay. We broke Jade. We have to be really careful with Jade. She's easy to break. Think of her as like a piece of jade, and if you drop it, it can break. So we can't drop her. We always have to make sure that she's properly handled.
Celine, as this is playing out before you, you do remember that you have a vial of a substance called joy, which does in fact, for a great long time, inflict the user with euphoric joy.
Yeah, but I don't want to have to drug Jade unless it becomes a matter of actual priority. I'm a discredited surgeon, but I'm not an asshole.
I think we're pretty Jade has a lot of magic power, and we don't know how. We know that that's come out sometimes in the past when we didn't expect it, and we don't want to, just randomly mix magical things together and hope that things go for the best, especially with Jade, because you know how volatile she is, you just saw. So I think we should keep the magic pink liquid, and just let me be the magic pink liquid for her as much as we can, and then that'll be more respectful of her, and also maybe a little safer for her and also for us too. Is that okay?
So treat Jade as Jade, and don't use the pink liquid except you as the pink liquid, and then we can use it.
Exactly.
Got it.
Fair.
Can I be the silver liquid?
Okay.
Yes, you can.
Yeah.
Although, why wouldn't you want to be a solid dragonborn?
What if I'm like liquid and solid at the same time?
That's not possible. That's physics.
I am physics, whatever physics are.
You are not physics. You are physical. You are not physics.
I am physics as physics are physical.
Your all's personalities, I think, are ripening right now. As we're only 5 sessions in, I'm loving this. All right, so camp is broken down. The cart has gone off down the highway and is out of sight by the time that you all are getting it back on. Tazray, give me another athletics, just for poops and ha-has.
Alright, let me...
I didn't dream about Tazray this time, so I don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah, you did... Oh, well, that's kind of creepy if you
Get used to it.
Oh yeah. All right. So Taz has got this, and kind of with an oopsie daisy, kind of like da-dum da-dum, and you get over the lip of the highway, and the wagon is back on the road to continue its southward journey towards Browbeat.
Yep. And I will be driving.
All right. Celine plops back on the driver's bench and takes both he's and haw's reins in her hands and gives a little, a yaw mule. And cloppa, 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 down the stone road southward we continue. All right, so do you all wish to continue playing or stop here at this point where you've had this interaction? You have left Mask of Flowers going south to deliver Geroff Avalanche to his family in Browbeat. Do you want to continue playing for a little bit tonight or not, and we pick it back up here? I think this is a good decision moment right now.
Yeah.
Well, we are at a good stopping place, but I have no, so I'm good with whatever.
I'm neutral, so I'm also good with whatever.
I've already prepared. I work in the morning, but I also slept all day, so.
Okay. Then it sounds like we can continue a little bit, right?
Yeah.
Are you all good for at least an hour or so if we go one more hour?
Yeah, we can have one more.
Okay. Let's take a 5-minute break for, bathroom use or grab another snack or something, and we'll come back in about 5 minutes, and then we'll make more progress, and we'll still get you to a stopping point, but this was a good stopping point if we wanted to hard break here for the week. So everyone out there watching, thank you very much for coming over. If you found us randomly on the D&D tab, if you came over with Journeyman's Raid, if you're already a member of the community and you enjoy who we are and what we do, let's all take 5, or I have 3:03 a.m. Why don't we come back at 3:10 a.m.? So 7 minutes, and then we'll go from there.
Yeah.
And thank you all.
Mm-hmm.
I hope that was interesting enough, but it seemed like that was probably the most appropriate time to start laying that particular wheel of jade start turning outward.
Had a psychotic break in a while, so this was a good time for one. I thought we might have been, pressuring you a little bit, so I was very well played, I think.
Thank you very much. I'm hoping that I gave you guys something to work with, because I love the fact that Celine's it's very telling, right? Celine's willing to use magic, not willing to drug. Bright feels like, okay, we all need to be friends, and wasn't aware that this might actually be a nightmare scenario for Jade. Tezzeret is Tezzeret, right? And I'm pretty sure Mordecai's sitting there and trying to work the angles. Okay, why did this just happen, and what is going on here? Do I need to be careful? Do I need to be careful on what that one is? But probably also figuring out on how do we use this.
Yeah, he's definitely curious about Jade, but he's also very cautious about her too.
I wouldn't call it unaware. I think it's more like, just my nature.
Just got here.
Sometimes, and why would that be? It's just not even a concept for me that would be so unpleasant for you. So when that happens, I'm like, oh yeah, look what we did. That was so dumb. But it's not. We're still to remember.
No, by all means. I love that because it highlights your character so well.
And it makes sense because all of us are